Now this car in particular has quite the interesting story behind it. We are replacing the long block with one of mine, but well, that's just a Type RA block with refreshed cylinder heads. However, it's getting a new long block. This gentleman bought this car, bought an extended warranty with the car, and shortly after buying the car, I think a couple days after, it started spewing smoke out of the back end of it. The warranty place, after having a battle, took it in, and this is unheard of. I have never heard of somebody doing, especially a dealership, I've heard of people doing this and the engines never last long. They replaced just a single piston. Almost unheard of when rebuilding Subaru engines the right way. So it obviously didn't last, and that's where we come in. We are going to save and fix this thing. Now, at the end of the video, we are going to be tearing down that short block to see what kind of fuckery the dealership did on cylinder 4, because I think it was cylinder 4's piston. So we're going to take apart the short block, see what exactly is going on in there, and see what happened. Now, modification-wise, I know this car is tuned. It has an AVO top-mount intercooler, a Cobb intake, a Mishimoto catch can, a fuel pressure regulator setup from Cobb, a Cobb ethanol sensor, TurboSmart blow-off valve, and I believe that is all I see in here. As for the replacement block, this is a Type RA short block, brand new, refreshed W25 dual AVCS cylinder heads that is going to be going in this car. I already happen to have a set of cores laying around, so I took them to the machine shop, had them refreshed for this car, so this should be a pretty easy swap. Now, I am a little light on engine stands at the moment, so the way we're going to do this is we're going to start removing parts from this engine, cleaning them, and transferring over to our new engine, because I don't have an engine stand to put this engine on to tear it down until that engine goes back in this car. So let's get at it and start tearing this thing apart. I am gonna have to slide the quick jacks under here in a little bit, but let's just start ripping it apart. Let's get out everything we can right now. Now, I do want to preface this video is not a how-to on how to tear these engines apart or rebuild them. If you're looking for something like that, I will link it up in the corner right there. I've got an absolute ton of videos. Now, when tearing these things down, I like to try to get all of the little accessory stuff out of the way. Intake, battery, alternator, AC, power steering pump, just get it all out of the way, the intake manifold, so that way I can start getting the intake manifold up and out of the car, because once that's out, it frees up so much room to be able to get everything else out. Now, some people will pull them with the intake manifold still attached. I personally just choose to do it this way. This catastrophe is way worse than I initially thought. So I'm moving pretty quick through this because I want to get this car done and out of here by tomorrow. But there's a lot that I have found wrong. One of the big things is the shop that worked on this car prior decided to swap out this crankcase breather, and I'm assuming because the old one was just hard and crusty, and instead of doing the proper thing and getting an OEM hose, they just grabbed a piece of straight hose, and you cannot put, I can't show you guys this, but maybe if I go back here, the hose kinks, and it fully kinks and doesn't allow airflow to go through that, or pressure from the crankcase. So then you end up with a whole bunch of excess crankcase pressure and you start pushing a lot more oil. So that honestly could have been a huge contributing factor to one of the things why this blew up. Outside of that, there's just so many little things that I have found wrong with this engine. It's honestly embarrassing for this to leave a shop, especially as a warranty job that a shop actually did. Like, what in the name of what is going on here? I'm actually so curious to see what's inside of this. I have a feeling it's an absolute catastrophe. When I drained the oil, there was a ton of metal that came out of this thing. You guys absolutely have to be weary of where you take your cars for engine replacements, rebuilds, things like that, because I see so many non-Subaru specialty shops try to do this and they make the car worse. Not even arguably, they make the car so much worse. So I'm gonna keep stripping this down. I need to get secondary air injection off, get the starter out, get the clutch slide pin out, and then this engine is ready to come up and out of here. I'm gonna have to start stripping it down piece by piece on the engine hoist and start transferring it over to our new engine here as I clean everything. But dude, that's straight embarrassing. Everything's disconnected. Should be good to go. I did have to take some additional stuff off, like exhaust manifold and whatnot, because whoever worked on this before stripped out the O2 sensor, and I don't want to mess it up more. Mr. Wilson. Old engine out. I am gonna have to check. I was told, and they were told, that a OEM replacement clutch was put in, so I'm gonna have to verify that. I need to take everything from this engine and transfer it over to our new one here. So I'm gonna start going through this. I'm probably just gonna grab timing first, slap timing on. We obviously have a new timing belt kit, but I need the bolts and the idler pulleys and the timing bracket, the timing covers, all of that. So let me start going through this. I'm gonna take everything from this engine, just move it to this guy here, and then this engine will go right in there. And then we can start putting all this fun stuff back on. I gotta clean that, I gotta clean a lot of stuff. I was just gonna time lapse going through this, but the surprises just keep coming. So if you guys see that right there, there's a whole bunch of black and like polished look on the bottom of this timing guide right here. And they didn't set a gap. They just rested this right on the belt, and the belt's actually been chewed through almost, which is insane. This is why I say, like, you guys gotta be careful with who you take these cars to. I'm not just like saying that, but I don't even know if this engine turns over. Oh no, we're locked up. We are totally locked up. All right, well, oh yeah, it's fucked. It's so fucked. All right, well. Rest in peace, little EJ. They've killed another one. Now when it comes to tearing apart the old engine, I really only needed the rear timing covers, the hardware for the actual timing, pulleys, all the little stuff like that. Everything else is getting replaced on this engine. All of the oil lines get cleaned out. Anything that is off of that old engine and going onto this one gets heavily cleaned before reinstallation. But the main thing I needed was just all of the small stuff, hardware, lines, things like that, to be able to get this new one timed and ready to go. This, ready for the dump. Unfortunately, literally everything on this engine is scrap, which sucks, but you know, that's how it be sometimes when things are just kind of thrown together and tossed together and not done right. Mr. Dealership who did all this. But on the positive note, this is the new engine ready to go in. So Type RA short block, rebuilt stock heads, new timing setup, IAG oil pan down there, new oil cooler, new cam gears, new anything that has to deal with oil is the biggest thing on these. Now, this video is not necessarily just about doing short block swaps. I'm curious what happened in here with them replacing pistons and not actually doing proper machining. Subarus are already temperamental enough cars. When it comes to putting the engines together or machining them, you gotta do it the right way. If you don't, you have situations like this, and I'm so curious to see what the hell is actually going on inside of that engine. I think we're gonna see a shattered piston with the amount of metal that I found in the oil, or bent connecting rod, or no bearings at all, something. It's gonna be something wild inside of that thing. But that's gonna wrap it up for day one. I'm gonna come back over here in the morning, and we're gonna get our new block back there, toss the clutch on it, toss it in the car, get all the accessories back on it, get it running tomorrow. That car will be done, and then we're gonna crack open this thing right here. Engine reassembly went pretty smooth going through this. I just kind of jumped into it. The engine went in without any issue. The biggest thing with getting EJs back into these cars is getting the transmission and the engine at the same angle. Once that's in, it will literally slide in and drop in. From there, I try to get all of the accessories back on the engine, starting with the turbo, the downpipe, coolant crossover, all the PCV breather hoses, and then once that's all kind of situated, the intake manifold can go on, and then everything else. Now at this point, once the intake manifold is on, everything else goes on relatively quickly. We did opt to add in a updated IAG air oil separator. This car originally had a really old Mishimoto catch can on it that just really wasn't doing all too well. Granted, this engine did suffer from some pretty catastrophic failure. It probably didn't do it any injustice there. I'm gonna crank her over until we have oil pressure. I might have to charge the battery. I don't know how long this thing is sat for, but pressure. I need to... Well, parameters looking good though. Get this thing burnt, so drive it around, and then it should be good to go. That up pipe's a little noisy. The up pipe heat shield is broken, so it's being a little bit rattly, but sounds good. Now we just gotta let it burn. It's real smoky in here. I'm guessing a lot of oil went into that exhaust. It's starting to die now. The amount of smoke coming out is really starting to die down. I'm guessing there was a lot of oil that got burnt up inside of the exhaust when it did blow up, so it's always a good sign. See it starting to die down on the smoke. It was pretty smoky on the first start, almost as bad as my rotary. So for now, let me just monitor this, get the cooling system burped, get it pulled out, and then this car is done. And then we can actually do the fun part of tearing into that. I do apologize for all the time lapse in this video. I only allocated yesterday afternoon and this morning to get this car done, so they dropped it off to me about 1 day ago, actually, almost 24 hours. So 1 day turnaround time, that's not bad, right? That ain't bad. Thermostat opening? No. I'm guessing there's an air bubble trap down here. I'm gonna let it cool off. Thermostat's not opening. This is what I want to dissect. So, apparently one cylinder was replaced. I want to take a peek at this abomination of an EJ. Dude, this thing is leaking from every orifice you can think of. So, nothing's gonna be salvageable on this with the amount of metal that I saw come out of the oil. I'm curious to see what's in the oil pan also, but boggles my mind a dealership did this. Let's get that cylinder head off. Let's take a peek. Let's take a little look-see. I want to see the abomination that lies within. That's garbage. There's no point if this whole thing is garbage, then. All right, cam caps are up first. Let's take a little look-see. It's pretty rough, but actually not as bad as I thought. What about this guy? Same, little rough, but not terrible. Cam seal, cam seal. They used, whoa, what the hell? Did they paint the head bolt? This engine is either brand new or they spray painted the bolts or something, I don't know. Look at this. It's like the head bolt was painted silver. I'm so confused by this. Oh, holy shit, there's no piston left. Yeah, that's cooked, man. That's fucking cooked. Oh, we replaced the piston in cylinder 4. You sure did. You sure did, dealership. This just boggles my mind to see that this was a warranty job. They also used the wrong head gasket. You guys can see there, these ports do not match up. I thought that this was right down here, and then when you lift up on the head gasket a little bit, it's not. This is just entirely the wrong head gasket for this engine. So, you know, it just goes to show, like, dealers don't care. They really don't care about you at all. They're not gonna do anything with this. I'm gonna see what the owner wants to do with this, if he wants to take this back and potentially use this. They also used way too much sealant on the oil pan down here, but that's insane. Let's pull out as many pieces as we can and see how much engine we got. Nice big piece of piston there. I was gonna try to scoop. Oh God, I'm dropping piston. Wow. Wow, the wrist pin can almost come out. The connecting rod is not even, the connecting rod is shoved between the crankshaft and the oil pan. That's impressive, to say the least. Let's go ahead and take off the other cylinder head, because everything that I was just grabbing just fell into the oil pan, but like, that's the connecting rod. It's not even on the crank. It's in the connecting rod is in the oil pan. Hey, how do you like your piston? Scrambled?
I've seen that. That came out of that one? That's it?
The rest of it's in the oil pan. I want to take off this head. This his extended warranty that he paid $5,000 for did this.
Like a legit dealership or like one of those?
I don't know.
Like used car lot dealership?
I don't know.
There's a difference.
It's not like a, I don't think it's like a brand dealership.
Oh, that'd be way different.
No, this did not come from a brand dealership, I know that much. But regardless of the fact, he paid a $5,000 extended warranty, so it shouldn't have mattered where the car was paid or purchased. But yeah, like, this is not a repair at all. Regardless of the fact of where it came from.
They shouldn't have even gotten to that side, should they?
They shouldn't have come into this side of the engine if it was cylinder 4. It's only the head of the bolt that looks like that. Of course there is. Why wouldn't there be? Why wouldn't there be fucked up piston on both sides, right?
Wow. Wow. All that.
They also used the wrong head gasket. It doesn't match cooling ports. And if you look down here, you'll think that that's the engine right through there, right? It looks like they reused the gasket. It doesn't even look like they put a new gasket in. They may have, but it doesn't look like it.
No, that thing looks very seasoned.
It's
That looks very seasoned.
it's a seasoned head gasket.
Because there's no way he had this for that long, right? When they changed it?
No, he said he babied the car. He barely even drove it and got on it, which I believe after seeing all this. Pieces of engine are literally falling out. More pieces of engine. Oh man. You want some piston ring? You want a wrist pin? Just wait, here's the connecting rod. Not on the crank at all. Here, we'll take this piece off also.
You want to stick parts in there?
Yeah, here, we'll throw all these parts in there too. There's gonna be more pieces of engine that come out.
Throw that metal right there, it's everywhere.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, this is, to an extent, it's kind of impressive.
Look at that.
Oh, there's more engine. Oh, there's more. Oh my God, there's engine just going everywhere. This is what I find to be the most impressive. You can just, look at that.
Where's the bolt at?
Dude, it looks like he didn't tighten down the rod cap. That's backed out. I have taken apart a lot of EJs that have suffered from this type of catastrophic failure where this happens. And I only found one wrist pin. I'm not gonna go digging in that oil pan, but regardless of the fact, this whole engine rebuild just screams negligence to me. I mean, there's just way too much sealant around the oil. I mean, that's the least of this engine's problems, but seeing this is absurd. Like, this engine never stood a chance. And after the owners just picked up the car, after talking with them, they only drove this thing a couple 100 miles, I think 100 miles or something along those lines, until it did this. And he was going up a hill and it just completely imploded on itself. So it's sad to see that stuff like this happens. I believe they're going to contact the dealership and trying to remedy something with them, but that's absolutely insane to me. But that is all I've got for you guys on this one. That engine is entirely scrap. So I will dispose of that at the dump in the next day or so. But that's all I got for you guys on this one. If you liked the video, if it gave any insight onto why you should be careful where you take these cars to, by all means, be careful. But if you liked the video, go ahead and hit that like button, turn it black, blue, green, yellow, purple, silver, cyan, and whatever color it might turn for you. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you want to be, I'll put it in one of these corners, no idea which one quite yet. But with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. So peace out, homies.